Man, am I excited. Folks, we have seen the most competitive lineup, I think maybe even in Olympia history, unfold itself for this year's Olympia title. And that's not just in the men's, but straight across the board. Over 400 athletes qualifying this year. That does make this the biggest Olympia of all time. And I couldn't be happier that we're back here in Vegas. We're going to get to the athletes in just a bit, folks, but we've got a little business to take care of first. That, of course, is the weekend and how it unfolds. All the activities are going to be, of course, at the Expo. That's going to be at the Venetian. Very nicely put together. I think you guys are going to like what you see. A lot of sponsors have come back now that we've gotten past the COVID years. So it's great to have some of the big boxes coming back and setting up shop. Of course, you'll see all that action. Lots of new activities going on there, and of course, sponsors and events. You're going to see that everything's been supersized here at the Olympia. No greater year than this year, of course, with a record amount of athletes competing. But we always like to start things off right here with the press conference. And I'm glad everybody was able to come out here and enjoy it, because I think we've got a great show lined up for you. Folks, this show actually has been 3 years in the making, believe it or not. There's a lot of pieces that had to get put together, but this was actually going to take place a few years back. Got put off by the COVID. All the boys got together, and of course, Jake Wood. I can't see anything because of the lights, but here's Jake right down in front. Your Olympia owner, folks, Jake Wood. While other events canceled around the world, Jake said, no, we're not canceling nothing. Matter of fact, we're going to put the prize money up even bigger. We're going to have the biggest stage in Olympia history, and the show will go on, and history will be made. Thank you, Jake, for everything that you do for our sport. When you talk about putting the pieces together, like I said, almost 3 years ago, they were starting to put the pieces together. Then they had to do an 11th hour change. We ended up in Orlando. Turned out absolutely fantastic. But if I could tell you all the people that have to come together to put an event like this on, it would take me forever. But I got somebody better, and that, of course, is Dan Solomon. He's right down here in the front. What's up, Dan? Get up for your Olympia president. Actually, Dan, don't sit down. You know what? Why don't you come on up here, because you know this stuff a whole lot better than I do. So, Dan, come on up on stage, man. Just give me a couple minutes with you. Come on up, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the president of the Olympia, Terrence Ruffin.
Told you we'd get you on stage this weekend, all right?
I wore my lucky sweater. So let me tell you something, Bob. I got to be honest. The last couple of years, if you turned on the various business news outlets like CNBC or whatever news channels you watched all the industries around the world struggle as we were ravaged by a global pandemic. And along the way, we watched our friends and other businesses and other industries struggle. And we saw companies shrink. We saw people revisit the way they even do business. We saw company by company struggle in ways that were heartbreaking. And it was a tough thing to see. But what I learned over the last couple of years is that the passion, devotion, dedication that lives in this room can conquer anything, even a global pandemic.
Yep.
And I say this because there were more events held over the last year than we have ever held, thanks to the NPC and the IFBB Professional League. Outside of the United States, there was over 250 events, and they took place with record participation in nearly every measurable, whether it was sports nutrition companies, apparel businesses, exercise equipment companies. They were thriving and growing in the face of one of the most difficult times in economic history. And that really filled me to know how impenetrable we are when it comes to rivaling our passion against anything that comes our way. But with that said, you opened tonight, Bob, and you said to this crowd that this is the biggest Olympia we've ever had. I think it's important to tell you this, and then I'm going to sit down. I think it's important to tell you guys something as you're making your way around Las Vegas and the Venetian Convention Center, and of course, the Zappos Theater down the hall. That stage production is going to knock your socks off. But I will tell you that as you're going through this, what I'm about to tell you is not promoter bullshit. It is not hyperbole or nonsense or just stuff so we can hear ourselves say great things about what we do. What I'm about to tell you is a statement of measurable fact. When you look at our ticket sales, the Zappos Theater for our main production has been sold out for over a month. Earlier this week, we staged the Amateur Olympia where 800 registrations took place. It was the largest Amateur Olympia in the history of the time we've been doing this. Sponsorships are at an all-time high. This coming weekend, more than 400 IFBB professional athletes will compete in 11 divisions for more prize money than has ever been awarded in the history of bodybuilding competition. And it all adds up to one thing, and listen clearly. You guys are attending the biggest bodybuilding and fitness event of all time.
Yep.
And Bob, since they told us we are not allowed to drop mics, I'm just going to hand it back to you. Let's go.
Give it up for Dan Solomon. All right, well, like I said, folks, we've got a little business to take care of here today. I want to give a special thank you to Wolfpack. You can see their bags up on stage. They are one of our main sponsors here this weekend, along with Your Kratom. I see my buddy Kelly and his lovely wife right down here in the front. Good to have you guys here at the Olympia. You're going to see all kinds of people over this weekend. All right, folks, well, we can come to that time. The only question here, the athletes are ready. They're lined up. DJ Freddy's ready. Question is, where's my man Sid? Is he ready?
Bob, I was born ready. The real question is, are you ready?
You're asking me if I'm ready?
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Okay.
I think it's time to find out the best fans in all of bodybuilding already. What say you?
I say we go to the fans right here in Vegas and from around the world. Fans who are in Vegas, are you ready? See you guys on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the only three-time classic physique champion in Olympia history. From Canada, Bumstead!
All right, the man, the myth, the legend. As you can hear by the crowd, they seem to like you here, Chris.
I guess so, yeah. Good to be back in Vegas.
The stash is back, better than ever.
The stash is back. Yeah, I got rid of the mullet this year too.
That's like that, yeah, it's very nice.
Cleaned up
Better,
a little bit.
better on you than me, that's for sure. I know, right? All right, Chris, we have this conversation every year. You've got some great contenders coming, but man, you just keep doing the business over and over and over. But last year, you were getting pushed right till the end, and I know you had that nice heartfelt acceptance speech at the end, which really touched everybody in the Olympia audience. So, anything different this year? I know every year seems to be not a struggle per se, but just gets more and more tough to achieve the same. Is it getting harder as you go on to retain this title?
I guess it gets easier and harder in ways, you get used to it a little bit, and with, like you said, with the competition coming up, there's some crazy younger guys coming who look absolutely amazing, and they push me to be my absolute best. And that's what happened this year. This is my fourth time coming in here, so I know the rodeo. I know how to do it. Know how to do what I do, and I'm excited. So only I know what I did last year, and I know how to beat what I did last year, and I believe I did that. So I'm excited to show it off.
Well, you did have some good young talent coming up, and Urs Kalasinski, he's back again this year, and he's a young guy. What's he, 22, 23 years old? I
Something
think.
like that, yeah.
And I'd be remiss, of course, if I didn't recognize my Brazilian buddy, Ramon Dino. Or Gino. I think Tamer was teaching me some Portuguese. So Dino is for dinosaur. Is that the cake with the? Yeah. So I made the mistake of going on a podcast, and I actually didn't pick Ramon to win. And the next day in my inbox, I had 4,000 dinosaur emojis. And I'm like, what is this? Like, all from Brazil.
Don't want to mess with it.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, now entering the stage, the defending all-classic physique champion from the United States, Terrence Ruffin. And former two-time classic physique Olympia champion from the United States, Breon Ansley.
All right. You guys know each other?
We met a few times.
You met a few times, yeah.
A few times, for sure. What up, Terrence? Hey, brother. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? Love you guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Breon, when it comes to classic, we were talking a little bit backstage. Loving the fade, man.
Ooh, is it high enough?
And I said, speaking of classic, very kid in play, and Breon said, nobody's going to know who you're talking about, bro. We got a few people, right?
Some people
All the over 45 people right now. I remember kid in play, all right. Not quite there yet, but... See, I told you that somebody would know. These guys don't know. You don't know kid in play.
No one understands.
You really don't know kid in
Breon looks
play.
like he's younger than us. No one understands.
All right, Breon, we're back again. There's a lot of talk this year, man, on every podcast, saying that you should have gone on the 212. They said your time here is done. You can't beat this guy. This guy's snipping at you. He got you one show last year, right? I think. Was it the Olympia last year? 2 shows you got.
Actually, 3 shows.
3 shows you got. 212's looking better and better, ain't it? Now, in all seriousness, you've given consideration, although you said you've got some unfinished business, but you haven't ruled out in the future going into the 212 division.
No, I have not. But definitely unfinished business here come Saturday. I want to finish this classic, my last classic year this year, with going out with a bang with a gold medal.
So you're moving on either way.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Okay. This is going to be an epic battle because this guy is just unrelenting. I mean, he hasn't shown not one bit of weakness. And all Terrence has done, by the way, Terrence is the best poser in the business, bar none. Okay? Just want to put that out there because it's kind of a lost art, but you classic guys have really brought it back. Do you spend a lot of time on the posing routines? Because it sure looks like you do.
Definitely, yeah. I think to be the best, you have to put the work in, So I've been doing this for about a decade now. Every single day I'm in it, getting it done. Yeah.
Like you said, you bested Breon 3 times, but have you ever beaten this guy?
I have, actually. Yeah, I brought him into
We don't
the
like to
sport.
talk about that show.
Oh, do tell
like it
Chris.
didn't happen.
How did he get you in the sport?
He was the first guy who ever beat me in Classic, really. Back in 2016, my first ever pro show. Yeah, he came out of nowhere. It's where our friendship began too, and grateful for that show, but I was never going to let that happen again.
He was a baby back then, yeah.
Wait a minute.
And he was clean shaven back then.
Oh, he said the first time I ever did the classic.
Yeah, boys, we got some company.
Okay. They're coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage 3-time wheelchair Olympia champion, the greatest wheelchair bodybuilder of all time, Arnold Kelly. The 2022 Arnold Classic Wheelchair Champion, Gabrielle Andriuli.
A big hand for our classic champs, folks. Let's see if Breon can make the last one his best one. Let's see if Chris can pull out number 4.